Hello, and welcome to my graduate research project. Our topic today will be the significance of training and developing millennial managers and discussing some strategies to enclose employee retention in the IT industry. My name is Chandra Heyman, and this assignment is for our HRT 6555 Emerging HR Issues for Professor Ann Sanchez at Amberton University. Today's topic that we'll be discussing is taking a look into the millennial generation in order to get a better understanding of their upbringing. We'll look at some strengths and weaknesses that come from growing up in this era, and we'll move into the literature review, which focuses on bridging the gap in the workforce by confronting some of the issues in order to build a successful method for increasing employee retention. Next, we'll explore some retention strategies, opportunities that could be useful in any workforce today. Then, we'll touch base on some essential skills and tools that can be used for training millennial managers. Last, we'll go over some recommendations for any new millennial managers in order to aid in their success in the workplace. Understanding the millennial generation. Millennials are individuals born between 1980 and 1999. They began entering the workforce in 1998. They are the youngest generational group, have grown up in a fast paced, technology dominated society. As employees, millennials thrive on direction, structure, and stimulation in the workplace. Most have had a stable upbringing and were involved in more social activities and sports compared to Generation Xers. Millennials tend to be social, have a sense of civic duty, and want to know that their work makes a difference in the world. Although millennials are the youngest workers, they are the fastest learners. The most technology savvy millennials want their supervisors and their coworkers to provide direction with clear descriptions of the task or project to be completed. Research shows that millennials have reported specific work values, including respect, recognition, input, involvement, continuous development, supportive management, fairness, and concern for individuals. Finally, millennials have highly active lives and are skilled at multitasking. They prefer work that is stimulating and allows them the freedom to develop their own way of self organizing their work. Millennials, unlike previous generations, matured during an era of technological innovation dominated by computer technology. Millennials' view of the world has been shaped by terrorism, globalization, high public distrust of government, and influential special interest groups. This influence is reflected in belief held by many millennials who, one, are committed to making a life, not just living a life, two, view team building, engagement, and partnership as essential to leadership, and three, recognize that with diversity come new perspective, ideas, and insights. Having five generations in the workplace can detrimentally affect employees' performance and satisfaction. If there's a misunderstanding in their differences, Just as any other manager, millennial managers must learn about their employees' job satisfaction and organizational commitment levels as new generations merge with older established ones. In order to attract and retain employees, it is essential for a manager or organization to understand what motivates and satisfies the younger generation. Differences among the generations can create problems, such as distrust among employees and high turnover rates. These problems make it vital to understand millennials' values and demands. It is also beneficial to understand generational differences due to conflicts that can arise. Due to the differences in values and expectation, conflict is common as millennials enter the workforce. They found that if these differences in values are not addressed or identified, an organization can expect an increase in conflict. So, we're going to focus on some strengths and weaknesses of a millennial. Strengths and weaknesses. There are many positive and negative qualities shared by the millennial generation. More than anything, millennials are confident, as much of the research supports. This confidence comes from their trust and optimism. Felt that a generation's confidence was fostered and molded by previous generations. Confidence is what allows millennials to be considered for leadership positions within the workplace. Research has shown that millennials rank higher in self esteem and assertiveness when compared to previous generations at the same age. Millennials are known to be achievement focused. They have a need not only to do well, but to excel and surpass all goals and aspirations. This leads them to seek out new learning opportunities. Millennials are more willing to put forth extra effort to help an organization succeed. They are more willing to go without social time, such as coffee breaks, and work extra hours in order to help an organization if they feel valued at their organization. Not only are millennials achievement focused, but they feel accountable for their actions. Our education system have instilled a sense of accountability and have caused the millennial generation to focus on achieving goals. Millennials enjoy working in teams and are more tolerant than prior generations. Millennials have been raised on sports teams, standardized testing, and group learning, so it is not surprising that this would transfer into the workplace. The value of teamwork has also created tolerance to subjects of which older generations would not approve. This growth in tolerance can be connected to growing up in a more diverse world and working in teams to gain new perspectives and getting a project complete. Millennials are family focused and thus need to have a better work life balance. This generation grew up with an emphasis on family, which has created a shift in the workplace. Due to seeing their parents go through economic layoffs, found that millennials prefer focusing on their private lives as opposed to their careers. Events like September 11th, terrorist attacks, have helped cause this new shift towards a more work life balance. Millennials enjoy utilizing technology. The millennial generation became dependent on technology at an early age than other generations. Research has found that much like learning a new language, people who utilize technology at an earlier age become more proficient than people who learn later in their lives. It is thought that as a millennial begin taking over the workplace, the more integrated technology will be in the work processes. Common complaints from baby boomers are that millennials can be difficult to interact with and overly service focused. This comes from millennials expressing opinions and making greater demands than their elders or experienced counterparts. They also found that the younger generation were perceived to be impatient because of their needs to overachieve and reward them, self-important because it may seem that they're only worried about advancing their career, and disloyal because they're always shopping for ways to excel their opportunities. Moving on to the literature review. Literature review, exploring strategies and methods to increase employee retention under millennial management. The purpose of this study was to explore strategies and methods to motivate and increase retention for millennial managers. This study involved collecting data by senior leaders who supervise millennials who participated in semi structured interviews to identify strategies for employee retention under millennials. This study may contribute to social change by increasing awareness of common issues related to millennial management. Businesses in the United States could benefit from an increase in knowledge regarding effective retention strategies for millennial managers. Researchers have studied generational work values and other related enterprises in their study. They revealed four dimensions of managerial work values that significantly impact employee recruitment and retention across the three generational groupings. 1. Comfort and security. 2. Professional growth. 3. Personal growth. And 4. Work environment. I found this quote doing research and it really resonated with my topic of discussion. It goes, much attention has been given to this generation in terms of their strengths, weaknesses, and values, which may affect the workplace. Therefore, the new manager may have several unique challenges as he or she transitions from worker to manager slash supervisor. This brings us to our next topic, which will be bridging the gap. We'll discuss some ways in order to build that relationship from manager, supervisor to worker, employee. Bridging the gap. Mayola studied generational differences in the workplace. They reported challenges with millennials, Generation Y, in that this generation seemed to be more individualistic with individual values rather than organizational values. These value differences may be important to managers as the baby boomers are retiring. Crumpacker stated that one study reported that the generation may lack important communication and decision making skills. On the positive side, they mentioned that this generation was well educated. So it wouldn't be hard to enhance the skills for communication in order to bridge the gap. Willard found that millennials appeared to be more positive and collaborative than previous generations. In addition, the study recommended that organizations should promote a collaborative team based work environment as well as challenging and meaningful work. Also, important variables for this generation are career satisfaction, teamwork, flexibility, and workforce diversity. Finally, the study indicated other challenges for managers are in the areas of developing loyalty and improving employee job satisfaction and commitment. Since millennials are thriving by personal development and feedback and excelling at every project they have, performance evaluations are a helpful tip for bridging any gap of communication. Last, much attention has been given and shown that the millennial generation is skilled in using many types of technology. In fact, the use of technology is an integral part of our lives. These are some ways to bridge the gap of different generations. Exploring millennial retention strategies. Millennials want to feel like their employee is investing in them, and strong training programs are the most tangible evidence of this investment. They view development and training opportunities along with growth opportunities as a demonstration of loyalty, and this loyalty in turn breeds loyalty to the organization. Promoting engagement in the workplace. As millennials become a larger percentage of the workforce, employer success will depend on millennials' success. So it becomes imperative that the millennials are engaged. It is therefore the employer's role to provide variety in work tasks and patterns, as well as opportunities to learn the interesting aspects of even mundane tasks. Regardless of how it is accomplished, employee engagement should be a top priority for any employer. Promoting external engagement. Companies that are emphasizing their commitment to life outside of the office should see a decrease in this effect. People work harder at jobs that they like, and millennials like jobs with ample opportunities for involvement. Whether community service opportunities, company athletic leagues, cooking classes, or dance workshops, employers should be prepared to create opportunities for their employees to engage themselves in. These opportunities not only provide alternative avenues for employer engagement, but they also provide a higher degree of camaraderie with colleagues. Providing external opportunities will be useful for increasing millennials' employer satisfaction. But they also need to enjoy their time at the office in order to be fully satisfied with their employers. While they cannot control the nature of work, employers can affect how the work is completed, and they can benefit from using millennials. need for efficiency and comfort with technology to their advantage. Self development opportunities. Millennials want very badly to excel in their field. So if they know that they are developing, they will be more open to increased hours. Employers can capitalize on this for self development by offering opportunities to learn and grow rather than simply just to work. Learning opportunities lead to increased retention because employees feel valued when a company provides tangible investment into their futures. Essential skills for training and development. Retention is so important within an organization. It strongly affects the growth and development of any organization. Training increases the employee's values and provides the knowledge to be successful in their role. Training can produce higher retention rates if it's effective and personalized to the employer. To keep the classes engaging, training should always be evolving with the times. This will continue to create a positive correlation to training and retention. Technology based learning. Activities can be implemented utilizing a variety of methods. Computer based activities, wikis, presentations, course websites, web based interactions, video games, or research are all strong examples of technology based learning activities. Utilizing these techniques could create dissonance around the millennial characteristics of team orientation, as many of the techniques listed above are being employed currently in a relatively basic format and frequently do not include interactive teams or collaborative elements. Alternatively, utilizing technology based learning techniques align well with the millennial characteristics of multitasking, desire for structure and attention, and feedback seeking. This comparison suggests that the millennial generation would prefer sacrificing some interactivity or team orientation of activities in order to utilize or participate in technology based learning activities. Millennial collaborative learning style. The millennial generation is decidedly comprised of active learners. Research shows that the hypertext mindset of the millennial generation allows for and leads to frequent activity changes, reducing the applicability of a lecture style training format. Shaw and Farheis discuss the influence of technology on the learning style of millennials, finding that technology has increased the need for structure, hands on, interactive assignments in the classroom. Ball emphasized the need to engage millennials in the learning process, both in developing the process and learning the material itself. Research also found that millennials are less likely to internalize material presented in a lecture only format and cited role playing, externships, and clinical experience as a strong potential alternative. Management style and leadership. The employee manager relationship begins early, and managers must cultivate strong relationships from the start, ensuring that the training process is adequate for their new employees, as any good manager's job is to help his or her employees succeed. Managers must develop an understanding of how they can best adjust their management styles to this new crop of workers. As employees gain not only the new skill, but also the increased sense of self worth, they will bring confidence to aspects of their work that extends beyond the targeted trained skills. Organizational values. In order to incorporate any manager with effective training of the organization, organizational values have to be instilled in order to create and maximize an efficient corporate culture. This goes for any mission statements, character commitments, or core values that the organization may offer. By supplying the managers with this information will lead millennial managers down the right path regarding communication. Soft skills communications. In chapter 12 of our textbook, it mentions how someone communicates has the power to help build or undermine relationships. Explains why it is so important for trainers to recognize the communication style that they employ when communicating with the trainees. This particular set of skills can enhance any management style. Not only does it provide employees with a chance to establish a reliable relationship with any manager, it would also brush on some areas of opportunities that the millennial manager may be lacking. Simulations and role plays. This particular skill is essential for any training class. Being able to act out live scenarios will give any manager a chance to experience a situation and assert new skills in place in order to establish positive reactions in an actual situation. Moving on to recommendations for millennial managers. Our first recommendation would be to be aware of strengths and weaknesses. Since all individuals have strengths, weaknesses, and differences, self awareness is essential to successfully supervising others. According to Bushdart, self awareness is an essential quality for a leader, as those individuals understand their capabilities and are less likely to set themselves up for failure. Self awareness and personality inventories are considered useful tools in effective leadership development. One excellent tool is the Myers Briggs Type Indicator, which is a personality test. There are different versions of the MBTI that are available on the internet. In the role of a supervisor, utilize the strengths as often as possible while working to overcome weaknesses. For example, one manager was aware of her introverted personality and discomfort with public speaking in unfamiliar groups. Therefore, public speaking was a task that she delegated to someone else who had the strong extroverted personality. In order to overcome this weakness, participating in Toastmasters or enrolling in a speech class would be beneficial. Regardless of the approach, self-awareness is an important requirement. The second recommendation would be to know and understand your team members. Different personality types and a diverse set of strengths and weaknesses within several generations will exist among team members. In the new role of manager, being successful requires responding to those different needs in order to ensure effective work performance and engagement. Recognizing these differences facilitates task assignments and an efficient use of resources. Equally important, by recognizing each member's uniqueness, the manager can demonstrate that one cares about the team members personally and their well being. The Myers Briggs test may be valuable aid towards understanding individuals' personalities and performances. Likewise, numerous personality inventories are available for the team members. Certainly, be aware of perceptual biases such as stereotyping, which may come into play in management decisions. Our next recommendation will be to set high standards as a manager. An effective supervisor should display a level of integrity which is consistent with the expectations of the team members. In addition, leader integrity has an impact on the ethical intentions of team members. From the first day in the new managerial position, communicate through actions that high standards exist. In doing so, team members are more likely to emulate the manager's behavior. After assuming the position, demands may seem overwhelming, but as time continues, things will start to smooth out. Our next recommendation will be to be transparent and fair. As a leader, fairness has a positive influence on team effectiveness and performance. By the same token, subordinates' intentions to engage in organizational citizenship was found to be associated with leader fairness. An organizational citizenship behavior occurs when an employee does more than expected, goes the extra mile, and exhibits behavior not only in the job description. Those team members who engage in good citizenship help others volunteer and respect rules and regulations. Not only should the supervisor demonstrate fairness in dealing with team members, but the behavior should be coupled with transparency. If team members do not have access to needed information, then the rumor mill tends to create a subjective information base that oftentimes is not related to reality. While personal issues must remain confidential, the more employees are informed, the more likely they are to gain their trust and support their leader. Our next recommendation would be acknowledge mistakes and move forward. The leadership literature suggests that leaders need to move beyond the hero myth by being open to their own limitations. This humility in leadership improves leader follower relationships and opens new pathways for engaging followers. When assuming the new responsibilities of supervisor or director, he or she will be involved in making decisions in areas where one may lack experience and inevitably mistakes may occur. The new manager should not hesitate to seek advice and put input from other decision makers. It is best to leave the emotions at the door and develop talking points to remain focused. When one makes the wrong or suboptimal decision, it is best to recognize and acknowledge mistakes, make changes, and move forward. Employees do not expect the new manager to be perfect, but appreciates honesty and transparency. Therefore, acknowledge the mistakes and move on to other issues. In the process, do not let the mistakes set forth a cycle of self-doubt, since failures and mistakes are a natural part of every new position. Our last recommendation is to find an experienced mentor. Mentors are individuals who can provide guidance and advice as one engages in a new role. The new manager may find he or she is isolated, since important issues will emerge and need a different perspective with an experienced manager. Therefore, a mentor may be a valuable aid to the individual's success. A mentor with managerial experience can advise a new supervisor, help in avoiding inevitable problems, and point out potential pitfalls that may not be obvious to the novice manager. One purpose of mentors is to help their mentees be more comfortable and secure in their roles as leaders. Such a mentor may or may not be a member of the organization, but should be an individual who has one's confidence. Implications for social change. The implication of social change for this doctoral study was the ability to understand a growing part of the U.S. population. Millennials have many issues with traditional employment, including staying at organizations. This information could be of great value to a business leader. If employers want to be able to maintain market efficiency, they must look at the trends of each new generation and work to include these individuals in the organization. Understanding that this information could mean the difference between retaining highly skilled workers and losing them to the competition. Leaders will need to be able to engage the millennial generation and learn what makes them want to maintain their employment to ensure the success of all organizations in the United States. This concludes the end of my graduate research project. Thank you for watching.